to try to create his chances. Of course, we're not going to expect anything crazy or rash over the board, but if he gets it, he will try to make the most of it, and he plays the French defense.
Okay, you're absolutely right. This is as clear of an indication that Carlsen wants to end the match with a win here as there is. And Sam Sevian says, you're going to play a French. I'm going to meet you at the top, playing the main line, the classical variation here. This is one of the most topical lines contested now for several decades. From really the time of Gary Kasparov, still popular at the top level.
Wow, this is getting crazy very early on, and of course White has to decide where you want to castle kingside or queenside. Right now, Magnus putting too much pressure on d4 to give time for Sevian's king to decide one way or the other. Queen f2 played, defending that d4 pawn, and it looks like Magnus is the first one who goes into a think out of the opening.
Well, this is a great sign for Sam Sevian. Carlsen has played the French a good amount in rapid tournaments in the last couple of years. He played it against me in our name chess game, so this can't be too much of a surprise for Sam Sevian, who must have expected Carlsen to play some sort of unbalanced opening. And very good preparation. Queen f2, probably not the most common move if the world champion already settles into a 30-second think before completing his queenside development.
He does go on to complete his queenside development with bishop to b7, and I'm expecting white to shot castle. He goes for the kingside castling. Very often black has got ideas of taking on d4, trying to put that bishop on c5, but there are so many tactical knight jumps that you have to calculate after c takes d4, knight d4. You don't know if bishop c5 is possible or not. It looks very tempting, trying to put pressure on that knight. We see Magnus and a very messy room behind him. I have to say the chess in this game is going to be equally messy.
It absolutely is. That was really smooth. And to contribute to your point, cd4 and bishop c5 is incredibly tempting, but the knight from c3 will slide back to e2. And the last thing you want to do is give white this big clamp over the d file. So you don't normally take on d4 in these types of French structures until a more opportune moment arises, or until white themselves threaten, let's say, to take on c5, which Sam Sevian could also do.
That explains a lot. That explains why Magnus is delaying the development of his bishop, keeping c5 in control, doesn't want to give white the control of the d4 square, and Magnus continues to make improving moves, while Sam also not blinking. With the central position, both players make moves that slowly but surely improve their position. At some point, one of them has to take a decision on the center. Does black capture on d4? Does black go c4? Because otherwise, you can't put your bishop on the g7 square. The c5 pawn is hanging.
off. Let's stay here for the time being, and I will also point out that nailing Jade Willay is, I don't want to say crushing Carissa yet, but she's got an incredibly big advantage to Bishop here in attacking chances, but I think this game will end quickly.
Knight F5 on the
G7,
board.
no problemo.
G7.
E6 has to be tried.
You can't take on
Last chance
E6,
for
the F8
Sevian.
rook hangs.
Okay, so F6 I think is maybe the most cold-blooded response.
Does look like the way to go, right? You don't want to allow white's pawn on F7. He does it. F6 just keeps everything under control. And notice how that pawn on F6 and the pawn on H5 just stop all the checks. Rook C1, and because there's a back rank with this Rook C, what a stunning move this is. And who's getting checkmated now?
He makes it look so easy, Tanya. We see these moves. Well, of course, Rook C8, right? But it's crazy how quickly he finds them. Queen to E2, I think, ends the game almost officially because it opens up the threat of Knight F2. At this point, it's choose your pick, choose your poison, choose how you want to kill your opponent here if you're black.
Magnus is doing just that. He's got 3 minutes. He wants to go also for the beauty prize, which would be amazing if you could just sacrifice the queen to deflect that queen from F5, because Knight F2 would be a checkmate. Wow, Queen F3 played, and this is why Queen E2 was so much more tempting, because you have a real threat of Knight F2 as well, but he does decide. You can actually go Queen E2. No, you can't go Queen E2 because Queen E2 actually. But I like your move, Rook C2. Just deflecting that queen, threatening Knight F2. And now he's thinking.
I was going to say Carlsen likes to go King F8, something zen here, but he should finish it off. Magnus Knight D2, I think, ends the game. But we've seen Carlsen.
Knight D2 does a check on G3.
That's true. Oh my gosh, King F8, Queen D6. Carlsen has struggled a little bit in the technical phase of the game in Tata Steel, but he's off a full piece for goodness sake. Even Queen E5. Simple Queen E5 ends the game.
He goes for Queen E5. Pick up the E6 pawn, it's the big pawn, and he does it, and A4, it doesn't matter, there's no compensation, black's queen is absolutely safe. There is not a single check on the board. Queen A7 doesn't really get you anywhere.